Don't expect heavenly soothing for your earthly idiocy. It does not work that way. Truth does not comfort human stupidity. It doesn't heal your wounds on the battlefield. Repeat, truth does not heal your wounds on the battlefield. It shows you how to stay off the battlefield. And I know that that is penetrating somewhat. And the reason I know that is because you have tried to get help from heaven, asking higher powers to keep you protected on the battlefield. There is no protection when the machine guns are chattering and the bayonets are being jabbed and the cannons are going off and the aircraft are strafing overhead. There is no protection whatever for you on the battlefield. Stop trying to get it. Stop thinking that you ever will get healed. You won't. You haven't. You never will. Now, I said a minute ago, and I know it struck you as being right, that the only way to be healed is to get off the battlefield altogether, to be on a higher level than a mad society whose only aim is to hurt someone else in order to get a good feeling. Isn't that odd in itself? Human beings are going around trying to feel good by doing bad, and you know that can't happen. To get off the battlefield means for you to stop being you, to stop having the values and the ambitions and the desired prizes you now have, and to actually, factually be in a different place inside of you, where you don't have a single rifle or sword or hand grenade, where you have none of those. You have no use for them. I'm telling you that you must have no use for being bad, for being sick. Why do you want to be in such horrible inner ill health that you have? Why do you have it? It's because you believe that you can be healed where the shot and shell are going off and can feel good. If you got this one point here this morning, how valuable it would be that you have one thing to do and to keep doing it until you do it, which is to have no use for rifles and bombs and swords and for offensive behavior, because when you have offensive behavior, then you have to have defensive behavior. They go together, they can't be separated. And that describes human life, doesn't it? Totally. Always either going against something or protecting yourself from something that is going against you. That is what the battlefield is. Oh, you're going to have to make some pretty severe sacrifices. And look what they are. You're asked to sacrifice, to voluntarily give up your pain. God himself requests of you to please don't be bad anymore. Requests that you see that there is no need whatever, no need, because you call it a need, no need for you to be lowly. No need for you to score over anyone, over a man, or a woman, over a tough circumstance. No need to obtain anything. Why? Because you have everything. You have all the treasures in heaven. And listen to this. You have them here on earth. You don't have to wait. Those who wait for heavenly gifts will wait, and they will wait, and they will wait, and they will wait, and they will never, never come. You must do it now. By human measurements, it's 6 minutes after 9 on this Sunday morning. You have to, right now, while I'm talking, you have to be wisely and quietly willing to not be unhappy over anything, to not be offended by anything. You're asked to abandon your now falsely precious feeling that I had better watch out or I'm going to lose something. You have nothing valuable to lose. Look at the illogic, the false thinking. Look how ridiculous, absurd it is for you to think, I'd better be careful or I'm going to lose my valuable self-esteem, my self-worth. Go ahead, right now, point out to me your self-worth. Want to describe it to me? You're going to have to work real hard, aren't you? You're going to have to go into memory to think of all those things you said before as to how secure you are, how wise, how you don't have to be told anything at all about living your life because you already have it down set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, on up to 1,000,000 points, and all you have to do is refer to them when you get in an argument with someone. All you have to do is look in your argument basket and pull out the right words to say, the right defenses to have. Junk! You're reaching into the grab bag for junk. Which means, and I hope this startles you, it means nothing is more valuable to you than fear, than misery. What you now are is what you want to be. Now you say that 50,000 times to yourself. Stated differently. What I now have, the way I now act, my attitudes, my reactions, my explosive emotions, that is what I like. Yes, you do like them. Too bad. Oh. Well, now, of course, I know what you're thinking. Show me something better than that. Show me the alternative. Now, I've read a lot of self-help books, and they're just loaded with words and phrases like peace of mind, inner conquest, being happy in whatever you do. You've read all those, The next time you read a book that talks about the happy life, I want you to read it different. I want you to slow down. When there's a period in the sentence, I want you to stop. That's what a period is for, so a little pause before you go on, right? When you read this sentence, it says, you can be the conqueror of yourself, therefore nothing outside of the world can offend you. I want you to get very, very personal. And I want you to set the book aside for a minute. And I want you to look at the shelves of books you have all around your room there. And they all say the same thing. They all say, do this, do that, and you'll be free. You won't suffer pain anymore. And when you understand that what you've read in the books remains in the books, try to see the full depth of that, which means that you don't have the thoughts, the ideas, the meanings inside of you at all. How many books are you going to read? How many tapes are you going to listen to before it occurs to you that there's something wrong in your procedure? There seems, this is what you have to realize, quote mark, this is you quoting now, there seems to be no end of the road. How many more books to read and cassette tapes to hear before what is in them gets in me? So that it's not just a word to me, not just a cheery blue skies description. How long is it going to take? You ask yourself that all the time. I know you do. I'll tell you how long it's going to take. It's going to take up until the point where you quietly sit back anywhere, at work or at home or walking down the sidewalk, till it occurs to you that you are in dreadful, secret pain, and you have never found out how to dissolve it. That has to occur to you. And when it does, that will be a spiritual impression, a lofty lesson. That will be the start for you wanting to be free of all this useless thinking. All I do is think, and I go nowhere. Let it occur to you right now that thinking isn't going to do it. And before I go into a little more on that, I want to tell you a little more about the false healing. All medicines, all doctors that appear on your battlefield are false. They can't heal you. Sick society cannot cure sick society. Something other than human ideas, opinions, beliefs, principles has to do it. And I will tell you something else, and I want you to remember this. There is very definitely a hospital in hell. There's a hospital in hell. But it is staffed by doctors and nurses with false credentials. They've faked it. And you living in the heat and fires of your own internal nature, You're asking your own self to cure yourself. Talk about complete self-deceit. That's it. You're asking the thought nature, the deceptive doctors and nurses, you're asking them, please, can I be happy? How can I escape the heat of my own confusion? Please cure me. Oh, you will get 1,000 bottles of medicine. You'll get prescriptions by the hundreds. You'll get advice. You'll be told exactly what to do to make your world a better world. You will look inside yourself, and then unfortunately, as you have been doing endlessly, you will ask yourself for a healing. Now, real honest, every one of you hearing this talk, real honest now. Have you ever in your life, no matter where you looked, inside of you or outside of you in the hellish world, have you ever found a solution? No. Have you ever found a lifting of the pain permanently where it's there all the time? No, you haven't. Please. See, there's the battlefield, and the hospital is part of the battlefield. You get hurt, you run over there, and the wound, oh, it hurts pretty bad, doesn't it? And trying to pretend to the next soldier that you're not hurt, that everything is all right, and you're going out and defeat the enemy and get medals and rewards. You can't keep up indefinitely, can you, the fakery that you express to the world that everything is all right. Not only are you healing, you try to convince yourself, which can't be done. Not only are you getting healed, but you already have visited the hospital and come out of there completely cured of what you have, so that all you have to do now is go out and fight some more, win more glories. Question. You ask and answer this to yourself. Ask yourself this question. What am I trying to win on the battlefield? Well, if it was a physical, actual war, you could say, I'm fighting to defeat the enemy so that my side is proven right. Fighting for the medals and for the honors and for the applause when I march back home. Internalize that idea and ask yourself, what internal rewards am I seeking by going out and battling for more money, battling to get more friends? You have never had a single reward that lasted. I'll tell you how long some of them lasted, as if you didn't know for yourself. How long did your exhilaration last when someone complimented you about some task well done? How long were you able to wear the medal when you got the additional money, when you sold your home for double the price that you bought it from? You were wounded by that action because you took it wrong. I bought the home for $50,000. I sold it for $150,000. You were wounded by that reaction. You didn't even see it. You didn't know it. From now on, you will know it. The medal, the reaction of having made all that money, how long did it last before your anxiety drove you crazy? I have to do it again. But I can't buy another house for $50,000, sell it for $150,000 because I have all those enemies out there trying to do the same thing. There's only so many houses. Did it ever occur to you once, just once, to drop seeking that kind of a medal, that thrill, that ego glorification? Did it ever occur to you? Let it occur to you now. Look, listen to me. 20 after 9, Sunday morning, by human time. Now is the time to simply let loose of all the battlefield medals that you have been collecting and want to collect tomorrow. Just let them go. Oh, that's going to terrify me, what you said. If I do that, I won't have anything to live for. You're not living. You are not living. You have an unlife. You don't even know that. You have no life, I'm telling you. I'm telling you, while we're hearing this talk, you don't have any life. You have an unlife. Any of you care to have the audacity to contradict that? You just try it. You just try to contradict what I just said and see the increase in the shot and shell inside of you, the increase in pain. Because you would rather believe in the rewards and the medals that all your parents and relatives and friends once told you. They told you that that's all there is. You'd rather believe in that, and you'd rather continue to believe it than ask God Almighty to stop you from believing it. Which you have to do it now. You will not vanish when you switch your values from lower to higher. You will not be afraid when you let go of this sick society. You will not be afraid. Listen, you think you will be. That's why you don't do it. Instead, you will go through something new. You will have an authentic spiritual experience with your neighbors. Your neighbors are never going to have. They don't want it. You already know, don't you? Just to back up that point I just made, you know very well there's no point talking to your neighbors and friends and relatives and fellow employees. You know there's no point talking to them about what we're talking about this morning. How many know that? All right. Make it even deeper known to yourself. And I'll tell you what will happen if you do. If you make it more clear to yourself, as you have to go out shopping, or you meet other people, go to work, when you are going about your earthly business, you will know absolutely within yourself that they, yes, they are on that horrible battlefield, suffering from the stabs and the bullet shots, the words of society and the deeds of society. They are suffering from it, and you are not. Listen, truth is not a solid thing like this desk, but it can be as solid to you inwardly, that is, using analogies. This solid desk is very real to your physical eyesight. These spiritual truths, including the one I just said, they will become as solid to you as inwardly as the desk is to your spiritual life. You won't have a single argument or quarrel with any human being or any condition. No quarrel. You won't, listen to the freedom in this. You won't want to get anything from anyone. Oh, that isn't the way it is now, is it? Come on now. You need to get things from people, don't you? Their friendship, their what? You fill in the blank. You need to get things from people and from circumstances. That's why when you advance on the battlefield of this sick social world, when you try to advance to defeat the enemy, half the time the enemy defeats you, and the other half, when you happen to get the sparkling medal, to your shock and astonishment and dismay, you look down and it's dull. It's not sparkling anymore. And later on, it even falls away altogether, so you can hardly remember it. The whole sick, suffering world out there is engaged in trying to collect medals. And it is far, far, 1,000 times worse than you think. When two human beings meet, what kind of humans are they? You know what they are. You should know by this time. They're weary and they're tired. You can see it in their face, in their manner, in their tears. They're desperate and they feel hopeless, which alternates with fake acts of being brave and bold and giving talks before conventions. They're always trying to impress you with how happy they are. However, you will now become a sharp student of social behavior. And you will observe yourself and the other person, two strangers you over here talking in the checkout stand at the supermarket, wherever. You will observe and record and realize how utterly desperate and worried and sick everyone is. You'll see it. You'll notice it. Listen to them talk. Watch two frantic people, man or woman, two men, two women. Listen to two frantic, desolate people talking when you're with them. And you'll see person A trying to get something from person B. You will see person B trying to get something from person A. Listen to me. All those billions of people out there, not a single one of them can do anything but what I just said. They're on the battlefield. And all that's on the battlefield are the bullets and the wounds and the fake hospitals. That's all there is out there. Now, why did I ask you to study the conversations you hear around you? You hear it on television all the time. Watch the guests on that very, very popular talk show. Listen to what they say. Look, come on. Study that woman's face very closely as she's talking so confidently, giving her advice to the audience and to the millions of people watching the show. She's running a hospital. Right. She's the head nurse or the chief doctor. They're telling the world how to be healed, how to be happy, how to get along with other people. You're going to be a spiritual scientist before that TV set, effective as of now. Single out one person at a time. I'm talking about the authorities now on the show. Listen to that woman. Watch the changing flicker of her eyelids. Watch closely, very physically. Watch her gestures, watch her manners. I'll guarantee you a result, a good result, if you will do that consistently, carefully, with the intention to try to read what that person is really like behind the mask, behind the costume, behind the front that he or she is putting on. The pauses in their conversation, what they say when another person makes a comment contrary to their viewpoint. Watch everything. I'm telling you to do this for this one purpose. I want you to know that there is nothing but a battlefield out there, and everyone who is supposed to be the doctors and nurses and the experts, all of them are part of the battlefield, because as you study, let's take a woman this time, you could take a man as well, but studying that one authoritative woman, he's talking about, the title of her book is How to Be a Great Sparkling Success by Dressing Well Morning and Evening for 10 cents a day. Now she's telling you, if you dress according to her rules, or the man tells you that you will be a success if you take helicopter flying lessons. The advice is endless, right? Then you will be happy. Some people in that audience want to say, well, as wearing a pink velvet gown, if there is such a thing, ladies, has that made you happy at home when your husband yells at you? Or, sir, taking a helicopter flying lessons, has that made you in charge of yourself at the office when the red ink shows up by the flood on the book? Has that made you calm? Do you say, red ink this week? So well, so what? They don't ask that. Most of them don't even think to ask it, but you are going to ask it from now on. You're going to study her and see, I'll put it in 2 words. You might write this down. It'll help you in your television school. She's a pathetic faker. Right? Right. All right, now, why do you want to know that she's a pathetic faker? Well, there might be a pathetic faker watching her. Of course, that's the reason. You're to study until you're absolutely convinced that it is all woe and horror out there, and go on from there to discover, it's so bright and cheerful when you discover this. You're quiet regardless of what happens to you in the exterior world. You discover the terrible blunder that you made, which is this. You think, and I'll say this several ways, you think that conflict is all there is. That is untrue. I am telling you here and now, it is untrue that conflict is all there is. Just because you've had it all your life, what's that got to do with it? That just means that you were in love with the wrong thing, never knowing that you could have gone somewhere else and found something else for yourself. You have not slowed down, and you're going to do it now. You've not slowed down to the point where in the middle of that heartache over losing the business deal, that heartache over being alone in the world and no one seems to care whether you're in it or not. How many have felt that way? No one cares. No, nobody cares. Well, let me ask you. I have to put this in a certain way. Exactly who is it that you want them to care for? When you send out your pleas to the world, please love me, Who's me? Who are you talking about? Well, I'm 5'3", and I just curled my hair, and it doesn't. You will now correct yourself. You will say, I am not my body. Well, what a revelation. I'm not my body. Oh, who am I then? Oh, I know. I am a great spiritual person. I think spiritual thoughts. I think spiritual thoughts. That's who I am. No, you am not. Oh, then I must be my memories. You're not your memories. Well, if you're going to take all away from me, I know where I'll stop you. I'm pretty sharp at outwitting the enemy. I've been doing it for years. Oh, yeah. I can always fall back on the few chosen words, and they're right in the dictionary, so they must be real. I've always been a victim. I've always been left out of things. I've always been a loser. If I can't think of anything nice to say about me, and if you won't say anything nice about me, I can say 1,000 bad things about me, and I will continue to exist. No, you won't. You never have existed as a bad person. Well, don't you remember what you heard years ago? In order to find the new, you must give up all of the old. You can't have two things, the new and the old. They're not divisible. They're all one or the other. So, for you to confront the fact that you need to give up your pain, your image of being a loser, for you to confront that is going to be, ooh, what a crisis. It is so much of a critical phase point in your life that you don't understand it yet, but you're going to start to understand it this morning so that you can go beyond it. Today, for the rest of this afternoon, whatever you do, you're going to make a mental record. It's too much to write down. You've run out of paper and pencil. You're going to write down every thought, feeling, idea that you observe inside of yourself that is hurtful, small, or big. I'm asking you to see and understand that you felt bad about what? You fill in the blank. How many felt bad this morning already? How many during the meeting? Maybe because you didn't curl your hair, for example. You would have felt bad if you had curled your hair and worn your best pretty pink chenille gown. I don't think that's a word even. So you will be self-convinced of what you have chosen as your way of life, which is to be miserable. To be a loser is very valuable to you because now you're someone. Dad, Mom, I tried to be a success. I'm sorry I was a loser. See, you're hanging on to the fact that you were something. Even if you weren't a success, you were a flop. Hanging on to that. All this is a part of neurosis, a part of having bad manners among people, trying to prove yourself, all a part of the battlefield. Now, I tell you this morning, and you're to come back to every single meeting until you get it. I tell you that who you now think you are, who you live from is the battlefield life, and God has not deserted you to that. You have deserted yourself to that. You've perverted. You've liked it. I'm telling you something so startling, so marvelous, so everything, that very few people are ever even interested in coming to hear about it. You know where they are now? Oh, you do a little work. Where are your neighbors right now, if you happen to know? Where's your boss? Where are those several people you work alongside? Where are your relatives back in Iowa or Louisiana or Alabama, wherever? Where are they now? And what are they doing? You know what they're doing. You know what their lifestyle is. They don't want to hear what God says. They don't want to hear the true spiritual healing, which says, if you will lose all, you will win all. God says that. That's something that God says. If you will lose all, you will win all. That means that you even have to lose the self-image of being a loser. Please don't like being sick. Please don't like being helpless, feeling helpless. Oh, I'm so helpless. There's no help for me. You're bragging. You're deceiving yourself. God does not require you to be a nervous, unhappy human being. God does not require that. You are requiring it because you've made a mistake. You simply haven't investigated. Now you've heard it this morning. Now this morning is a critical morning for every one of you hearing this. It's critical because you've heard what is right. Do you want it? Do you want to hear more, or do you want to go back to the battlefield? You could go back to the battlefield as you go out that door if you want. And you'll have missed the whole purpose and reason for your life, as all your relatives and fellow workers and friends will miss it. They will miss it, I tell you. I guarantee you. They are missing it at this very moment, being so proud of their backyard barbecue, so glad of their plans for tomorrow. Look, you don't need to make plans for tomorrow in human time. Your plans can be different. Your plans, listen to this, your plans can be to have eternity, to have eternal values. This is what we've been talking about. I said the medals fall off, and you have to find another one. What God wants to give each one of you in this room is something that will last forever, and you won't have to find it, win it on the battlefield. It will come to you. It will last from day to day to day in your earthly life here. It will last forever. Determine this morning to work hard on everything you've heard. Good morning.